Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another YouTube video. So let's start a little bit with Bitcoin's price action today. It's confusing me a little bit, to be honest, because today what we can see is Bitcoin continuing towards the first real area of resistance, in my opinion, which is around that 92.8k. That part isn't confusing. I thought there was going to be like a relief rally at some point, but what is confusing to me is for the first time today we've seen Bitcoin dominance start to really push up as well today and yesterday. And so I feel a bit like offside maybe on this with the thought process. I do still continue to think that Bitcoin dominance rolls over. It's not changed anything for my medium to long-term targets. It just makes me wonder whether on this push back up that Bitcoin's going to try and suck some liquidity in. It's the first time in I'd say a few weeks. Well, provably, this is the weekly Bitcoin dominance. I do think that continues to come down. But if we go to the daily time frame, look, you can see that it's the first time since this date here, which is the 4th of November, the first time in nearly a month that we've started to break the trend that even when prices coming down, the alts aren't losing as much strength as Bitcoin. Today, Bitcoin's gaining strength and alts like XRP are losing strength. And we'll quickly touch on that actually, because I want to touch on XRP, ETH, Bitcoin, etc. XRP against Bitcoin, we've discussed this grey box. I said I wanted to get that close with this white line here. We haven't managed to get that. We've so far rejected. And we're now potentially looking to find support on this previous area of consolidation. This is where I'd like to see us bounce, gain some more strength, potentially look for that move higher to then again try and get the close above that 0.00002523 level. Similarly with XRP against ETH, we had that push up. Let's see, my computer's going nuts. Let's just make sure I've got it on silent. Yeah. We had that push up for XRP against ETH. We got the close above the 0.00071 level. Now we are coming back towards that level. Again, looking to hopefully find this consolidation here as support. I'd love to see that hold and then a continued leg higher for XRP against ETH, and hopefully the start of what I consider is either a major 5 or a major third, which would look something like this. Either way, I think there's another wave to be. This would be 3, 4, 5. It's quite large if it is like that. Or the other discussion is whether this is the first impulsive move, and then this is going to be 3, 4, 5 like that. And I haven't decided on which that it could be, but we'll see with time. That's why one of the reasons why I'm going to be taking profits on the next move up for XRP specifically, because I've not decided, or I haven't managed to find a wave count that is invalid in terms of 3-5, whether we're on wave 3 or wave 5, and I don't want to risk my portfolio on the fact that we may or may not have another wave after this wave. And I think this wave takes us between 8 and 12, so I'm going to deleverage heavily there, still keep some in my bag. It's my personal opinion, and even could be wrong with that. This could just be an ABC to the upside, corrective, or an extensive correction pattern. But let's not get into that, because I'm going to start getting confusing with what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is I'm taking profits between 8 and 12 quite significantly. There could be another leg higher than that. I do think that it's very possible that a 50-50% chance after that we go higher. I think there's a 70% chance that we go to $8 plus, and that's why that's why I haven't cashed out any of my XRP yet. Anyway, continuing with the video, going back to Bitcoin, we just discussed Bitcoin and XRP relationship, and we talked about Bitcoin dominance. 3-day Bitcoin does look pretty strong here. I would like to see some continued volume if we get up to this level, say at 93k, to see some big buying pressures come through, because so far volume is still dominated by the bears, at least on Coinbase on the 3-day. Now, if we look, if we look at liquidity, and then we're going to touch on Flare a little bit as well. If we look at Bitcoin on the liquidity, we'll start with the hourly. What we can see is there is some liquidity that we discussed yesterday around that 76k. Realistically, we are starting to get to the first real areas of resistance here, these sort of local highs, or previous lower highs. We're going to start challenging now, and there'll be liquidity at these areas, but as you can see, there's quite a lot of like built up resistance here. So anywhere in this zone is reversal territory, and then obviously around the 100k level as well. Quite a nice whole number. Somewhere around here is 100k, I think. Okay, that's 98, maybe a bit higher, 99. It's here's 100k, but you can see why I thought that 100 nice whole number. People bidding the whole number did provide some sort of bounce. We lost a level, we came back, we retested it, and then since then fell quite aggressively. And then we've chopped up like it's more like corrective chop up right now. I do think that we do need to see some more strength for me to get more excited about the move. I do think that the retracement will come soon. Again, do I see 76k? It's a difficult one. We need to see some more strength from the bulls, like I said, supported by volume, breaking through these retracement levels, and then we can start to get a bit more excited. There is liquidity above us on the hourly, look, all the way up here. Tons, and if we go to the daily, this is where it gets exciting, and this is why I think that the move's not done, like as in terms to the upside. There's liquidity significantly above us on the daily for Bitcoin, still the same. Now, there is this liquidity below us. If we did take that to 59k, it will feel awful and technically would be in a bear market, I guess, but that'd be a 50% pullback for Bitcoin. These do happen. The thing is, I kind of feel like we've been in a little bit of like an accelerated bull market. Our full pull down so far was 36%. During this time, we've had fear and greed come down to 10, which is like ridiculous. Right now we're at 22, or 11 last week, sorry, which is like the lowest ever reading. And it feels like now on crypto Twitter, it's not, people aren't even angry or sad anymore. They've just given up. Like it already feels like you've almost completed a bear cycle, and like even throughout this period, it feels like this whole area was all felt bearish. All this felt bearish, like since probably June of this year, when it probably felt like probably a 6-month bear market, because everyone was like, oh, it's just got no strength. And I remember thinking, oh, everyone said it was going to break down there, and then we set highs, and then we just wicked the highs, and everyone was calling, oh, it's definitely going to Goblin Town here. Then we wicked the highs again, and then everyone was like, oh no, it might be bullish, and then boom, we came down again. And this is kind of what I just don't feel like this is like how tops feel. It never feels like this. I feel like it feels more like a bear market, and it sounds ridiculous because we're at 91k, but that is what it feels like out there on crypto Twitter. Everyone's lost faith. I know a lot of alts haven't broken all-time highs, but that is how it feels. And so maybe in some senses this cycle may be different. Like it feels different as it is anyway, and no one could say without hindsight, oh, this cycle is different or whatever. You can't really say that, but it is different so far. Like it feels different. There's no way to compare this euphoric phase that we didn't have, really, in my opinion, to other cycles, if that was the top. Otherwise, this cycle is different because it's either going to be it is going to be the top, and we're not going to have had euphoria and some of the categories we talked about previously with Bitcoin dominance, or it's not the top, and then we're extending longer than previous 4-year cycles. So in one way or another, it's already different, I guess. The other thing I wanted to touch on today is Flare. Flare started to take catch a bit of a bid. We talked about this a few times recently. I actually tweeted about it last night just before we got this pop. That was something that I've been watching, this like descending trend line. Flare also finds itself at the bottom of this, like, how many years is this? From March of 24, this wedge pattern, and 3-day we got into the oversold territory when we found the bottom of the wedge, and then we've had this steep descent in price action. Did think that if we got a pop above that line, we would see a bit of an aggressive move, even if it's just a short squeeze, which it could be right now, but we could see a potential continuation from here. Finding support on the bottom of the wedge, breaking that trend line. Would like to see Flare break above this level here, the 0.1671 level. If we start to get breaks above there, hold that as support. We're obviously then targeting these next levels here, this level and this level will be my two main areas to look after that. Anywhere in this zone is still quite a strong area of resistance, to be fair. Get us back up to the 2.5 cent level, and then we're looking to break out the top side of the wedge, and that would be fantastic. I think that's our third touch to the bottom of the wedge. Let's have a look. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and normally you do find there's 3 to confirm the pattern. So 1, 2, 3, and then hopefully now, if we do get back to the upside, it would be nice to see us break out. And although people are going to probably kick off a little bit about this, the breakout target is this size, which I've already got drawn in here, which would actually take Flare up to about 15 cent, which would be fantastic. It's about a 10x from here. Now, I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen. I do think that will happen. I don't think that's an unrealistic target for Flare this cycle. It would put the market cap of Flare at like 15 bill ish, 15 to 20 bill, which I think is possible if we have an extended, if the cycle starts to pick momentum back up again. I think it's difficult if we don't to see Flare break into these categories, because it's quite a big increase of capital in a specific location without the market in general doing pretty well. The other thing I'll touch on is Zcash. We haven't been filled on this position yet. The bid's still there. Nothing's changed from yesterday. Bid's still in. Waiting to see if we bleed down into this sort of area here. My bid is at 444, somewhere around there. And then take profit up here at 984 based on the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement here for this low time frame move on Zcash. See what happens. If we get that fill, that'd be nice. Take us out to the 1.618 there. So that's the trade that I'm looking at the minute. I'm not in it right now. It's a 14.8 to 1 risk to reward. The odds of it happening are, well, I think the market continues to the upside. I think privacy probably has at least one more leg in it. So I think they're quite high that we do see that this trade play out. It's just whether we get the entry and whether the lows are swept that stops us first. These are the discussions that I am not sure about. Could we come to sweep these lows like here? Look, it's a question mark. We could even come and sweep them at the 300s before we go on to set a higher high. They're the things that I'd be concerned about, but you have to look for areas that you think are interesting. And if we respect this range, I think this is quite an interesting area. So let's see. And we showed on the liquidity charts yesterday that there could be, that there is liquidity in this area as well for Zcash. So it helped with our entry as well. But that's why we've got all of these things. As I said, I am taking this trade. I'm not saying that you guys should. I'm just giving you the idea of why I am. 460 is quite strong liquidity, down to about 450. So let's see how this plays out. These are the things that I'm watching right now. I'm watching Bitcoin. The last thing I wanted to just quickly mention before we wrap up this video is I am watching the Russell, and I'm also watching the DXY. The Russell somehow finds itself nearly back at all-time highs now, even though everyone's been writing it off and saying, look, it's the end. We're nearly back towards all-time highs for the Russell. In fact, roughly just 3% away, which with the Russell could be like a 1 day's positive price action. This has been one of the major factors for alt season. Again, why that's one of the reasons I'm a bit confused again about Bitcoin dominance today. Bitcoin dominance gaining strength. Russell's nearly back at the all-time highs. And the last little thing was DXY. The DXY has taken a bit of a bounce down from the area that we were in. We haven't lost this like trend line here yet for the DXY, or not quite. We're literally touching it right now. Let's make sure it's a bit more accurate. So we haven't lost this trend line yet for the DXY, which I think would, if we lose this and it doesn't continue to hold and we don't push higher, this could be a bit more of a signal to say, okay, crypto is going to have at least a relief rally, if not more, as the DXY potentially heads back down towards the range lows here that we're probably forming, roughly looking at a range like this. Look. So let's see what happens there. That's another thing to have on your radar. So I'll be watching the RTY, the DXY, Bitcoin dominance. If you're looking to follow that trade, have a look at the trade setup that I've got on Zcash, see whether you agree or not. And then Flare's obviously doing pretty well. There are other things. And I think Firelight, actually, Flare's restaking products coming out very soon. I think the 4th of December or the 3rd of December. I keep getting those dates wrong because around the 5th of December there's like a Call of Duty tournament as well. So these dates stick in my mind, guys. They're the things that I'm interested in, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you are. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to stop rambling now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Happy Thanksgiving to my American friends. I don't know if that's today, tomorrow, over the weekend. At some point, I'm pretty sure it's around here. Stay safe out there. If you enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with a friend. If you want to trade in any leverage, please check out the links to my WeX and MEXC in the description below. Please also go and subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. We've got 3,300 weekly readers now, and it's going to be released on Saturday as always. I am potentially cooking up a project at the minute. I'm working on something. floating with the idea of whether to release it or not, and I'll discuss that with you guys at some point. If anyone wants to be, I don't know, if anyone wants to see behind the curtain, just message me on Twitter and or comment on this video. But I appreciate, and it will be mainly for people who that I see who are recurring like support that I will share the idea with, and I appreciate you guys who are out here a lot, and you know who you are, and I do see you guys, and I do appreciate that. But yeah. As always, sorry, nothing I say is financial advice, but I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace up, A-Town Downs, Crypto Insight UK would say.